It was nearly midnight when I pulled my semi-truck into one of the busiest truck stops along the interstate. After driving hundreds of miles, all I wanted was a hot meal and a quiet place to rest. The diner was filled with truck drivers, travelers, and the sound of coffee cups clinking. I never imagined the evening would become unforgettable. I ordered a simple steak dinner and quietly sat near the window overlooking the parking lot. The waitress smiled as she poured fresh coffee before returning to the busy dining room. Around me, drivers laughed and shared stories from long days on the road. It felt like an ordinary night. A loud burst of laughter echoed from the opposite side of the restaurant. Victor Kane entered with several members of his martial arts team, drawing plenty of attention. His confident attitude filled the room long before he reached the counter. Everyone noticed him. Victor spoke loudly about his recent tournament victories, while his teammates applauded every story. Several customers smiled politely and continued eating. I kept my attention on my meal, hoping to enjoy a peaceful evening. That seemed to bother him. As Victor walked through the restaurant, he noticed I wasn't paying attention to his conversation. He stopped beside my table with a confident grin. The entire diner slowly grew quieter. Something told me this wouldn't end with small talk. Victor jokingly asked if truck drivers were always that quiet. I smiled politely and replied that long days on the road teach patience. A few nearby customers chuckled softly. Victor didn't seem satisfied with my answer. Victor continued trying to impress everyone with stories about winning martial arts tournaments. He invited anyone in the diner to test his skills. No one accepted the invitation. The room remained respectfully quiet. When no one responded, Victor looked back toward my table with a playful smile. He suggested I look strong enough to give him a challenge. I thanked him for the compliment and calmly returned to my dinner. Several customers exchanged amused looks. The waitress gently reminded everyone that the restaurant was a place to enjoy a peaceful meal. Victor apologized to her before stepping back from my table. For a moment, it seemed the evening might finally settle down. Then one customer recognized me. An older truck driver smiled as he walked past my table and thanked me for my years of military service. Victor looked surprised and asked what he meant. The driver simply replied that I had once led an elite Navy SEAL team before retiring. The entire diner suddenly became very quiet. Victor's confident smile slowly disappeared as he looked back at me. He hadn't expected the quiet truck driver to have such an extraordinary background. The diner became completely silent for several long seconds. Everyone waited to see what would happen next. Victor asked if the story was really true. I nodded politely and explained that my military career had ended years ago. These days, I preferred highways, coffee, and peaceful conversations. Life had become much simpler. One of Victor's teammates quietly admitted he had heard stories about Daniel during military charity events. He described Daniel as someone respected for leadership rather than strength alone. Victor listened without interrupting. The atmosphere had completely changed. Victor pulled out a chair and asked if he could sit for a few minutes. Instead of talking about competition, we discussed discipline, responsibility, and respect. Several nearby customers quietly listened while finishing their meals. The conversation became the highlight of the evening. Daniel explained that true confidence never needs to prove itself through confrontation. Real strength often appears calm because it has nothing left to prove. Victor nodded thoughtfully. The lesson stayed with everyone listening. Before leaving, Victor thanked Daniel for the conversation. He admitted the evening had taught him something far more valuable than another victory. His teammates smiled in agreement. Respect had replaced pride. The other truck drivers returned to their meals, smiling as the restaurant relaxed once again. The waitress joked that peaceful dinners were always her favorite kind. Laughter quietly spread across the diner. Everything felt normal again. Later that night, Daniel stepped outside beneath the bright parking lot lights. Rows of parked semi-trucks stretched across the quiet truck stop. He looked at the open highway ahead with quiet appreciation. The road was calling once again. Victor watched Daniel climb back into his truck before leaving with his own team. He realized that genuine leadership isn't measured by trophies or loud words. It's measured by humility and the way people remember you. That lesson would stay with him for years. As the diesel engine came to life, Daniel guided his truck back onto the open interstate. Another destination waited beyond the horizon, along with new people and new stories. Some of life's greatest victories happen without a single fight, and those are often the ones worth remembering.